The library is open and I can't wait to spy on some book lives. My fellow nosies, let's see how messy this one gets. Wives of the Country Boys Cartel, and it's by Kelsey. The 3-book series. So, book 1 says, imagine really going to see a man about a horse and getting your entire soul snatched by a rich, country, handsome Alabama cowboy. Erin believed that she had it all, a successful career, a devoted fiancé, and a future that seemed brighter than ever. But when betrayal flips her world upside down, she learns that trusting the wrong man can leave scars that take more than time to heal. With her grandmother's sudden illness calling her back to Lowndes County, Alabama, Erin reluctantly trades the bustle of Texas for the quiet of her hometown. What she doesn't expect is how love unexpected, raw and real can creep in when she least expects it. But just as she begins to open her heart again, her past resurfaces, threatening to tear apart everything she's trying to rebuild. Seven, a graduate student at Alabama State University, has grown used to life in the spotlight as the girlfriend of Malik, the school's star quarterback. But when Malik's betrayal shatters her world, Seven flees to the Alabama countryside seeking refuge and a fresh start. There she crosses paths with Zane Blackwell, a man whose magnetic presence and unshakable stability give her a glimpse of a love she never knew she deserved. Follow Erin and Seven as they face heartbreak, rediscover their worth, and explore the healing power of love amidst the trials and tribulations of life. From city lights to country nights, their stories will take you on a journey of resilience, redemption, and the kind of love that only the Deep South can deliver. If you're a fan of African American romance, hood drama, country, BDE, wealthy men, cheating husbands, second chance love stories, single mothers, and strong independent women, you'll fall in love with the Wives of the Country Boys Cartel by Kelsey. Now, let's just get into what I didn't like in book 1. So firstly, there are too many POVs. Just before the halfway mark, they introduce 2 more POVs and they just keep getting added throughout the book. There are actually POVs from 9 characters in just this first book. There's even like one character that literally just gets 1 chapter from his POV, and it could have been done from someone else's perspective. It just wasn't necessary. What makes it so crazy is that I just read that synopsis, so it said that you're following the women, right? However, in book 1, for instance, where you're supposed to be following Erin and Seven, right? Erin gets 3 chapters where it's from her POV, and Seven also gets 3. Just 3. 3 out of the 15 chapters. They have 3, and then the other POVs are from Ace, Danny, Lucian, King, Zane, Kara, Black. And so it's kind of like, okay, if we're following these women, then why are we seeing so many POVs from so many different characters? It makes it really hard to connect to the characters that you're supposed to be connecting to. Ace also confessing his feelings in this book feels really strange, and it kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere. And I think it's because the book is so small. Like, it's about, I think the first book is like 180 pages. This is digital, so I don't know what it's like in a physical copy. And of those 180 pages, so many people are getting page time that when he confesses all these feelings, it just doesn't feel right. And even though the girls do get 3 POVs apiece, a lot of that is not anything to do with them being in a relationship with anyone. They're very individualistic chapters, if that makes sense. So although they're there, it's nothing to do with them growing a relationship or anything like that. They're individual POVs about their individual lives. All the relationships are hard to get into in this book, and I really do hate to keep harking on with this, but it's the countless POVs that does this. It really does put a monkey in the wrench. There's no time to really feel chemistry or believe the emotions that the characters claim to feel because it feels so rushed. It feels as if Kelsey wasn't confident with her story, so she filled it with all these POVs to kind of distract us. Now, in saying that, it is a 3-book series, so I still had some hope that this wouldn't be an issue, and as we went along into like the 2nd and 3rd books, this is going to change and we're going to feel more and more connected to the characters as time goes on. Ace really thought that he was such a good guy because he didn't cheat and he paid the bills and married Danny, but in his own words, he didn't love her and he didn't want to be with her, and he only married her because she got pregnant. That doesn't make him a good guy, and it doesn't make Danny the bad guy for cheating. He wasn't giving her anything that she needed in the relationship because he didn't want to. And we all know that, like, when a guy doesn't really like you and he doesn't really want to be with you, he's not going to put in that effort. He's not going to give you anything, and you're going to be left wanting in that relationship. Obviously, Danny is still messed up for her poor communication, being trifling enough to try to steal all that money and cheating on him with an employee. But in all honesty, Ace didn't even care about that. He was more upset about his money, and the cheating was just anger from being disrespected by an employee whose checks he signed. It really was more on an ego type level than anything else, and like, how do you have the nerve to do this to me kind of thing. Okay, so the things that I liked, I thought that the plot was quite interesting in this first book, and it did keep me wanting to listen, and I liked that the book did come full circle, mentioning a character that I did kind of forget about. I'm not gonna lie, I actually went back to the beginning of the book and reread like the first chapter. I did like that. Book 2. This one actually has even more POVs, if you would believe it. Book 2 has, I think, 10 POVs. Okay, so this synopsis says, they say opposites attract, but for Kara and Lucian, their hearts beat in perfect rhythm, even though they come from two completely different worlds, stuck in a dead-end marriage filled with more than just broken promises. Kara is suffocating under the weight of domestic violence. When Lucian discovers her pain, it ignites a fire within him, determined to protect her at all costs. He's ready to fight for her freedom and prove that love doesn't have to hurt. Ace built his life on loyalty, dedicated to being a good husband, father, and man, but after Danny betrayed their marriage vows, divorce seemed like the only way out. Now Danny is torn between lingering feelings for her husband and the temptation of her side piece, while Ace finds unexpected peace in Erin's arms. Erin, still healing from her past, isn't looking for love, but when her path crosses with Ace, the chemistry is undeniable. Together they're learning to trust again, determined not to let their broken histories define their future. Before I finish this synopsis for book 2, I actually want to go back to the synopsis of book 1 because of this Erin line. Erin, still healing from her past, isn't looking for love, but when her path crosses with Ace, the chemistry is undeniable. Together they're learning to trust again, determined not to let their broken histories define their future. So she's not looking for love. When we go to book 1 and we look at the synopsis, it says, Erin reluctantly trades the bustle of Texas for the quiet of her hometown. What she doesn't expect is how love, unexpected, raw, and real, can creep in when she least expects it. But just as she begins to open her heart again, her past resurfaces, threatening to tear apart everything she's trying to build. What is this in book 2, where it's acting as if she's not looking for love, when we've just seen in the synopsis of book 1 that it says that she is currently opening her heart to Ace. Okay, so let's go back to this synopsis. For 7, love hits different with Zane. After giving her all to the wrong man, Zane's devotion is a breath of fresh air. With his steady love and unwavering support, 7 is stepping fully into her soft girl era, finally realizing what it means to be cherished. But living a member of the country boys cartel comes with its challenges. These southern men are all about their money, their women, and their respect, and they'll stop at nothing to prove what's theirs. For Kara, Erin, and 7, the journey to love is anything but easy, but when the stakes are high, only the strongest survive. Okay then, so again, let's just go ahead and jump into the things that I didn't like. So I felt like 9's POV was pointless and it took up unnecessary space in the book. Secondly, I felt like the Asian restaurant bit was really mean-spirited and would have cost nothing to just be left out. It should have been left out, actually. Also, again, this is about Ace again. I felt like I had a specific point on him on the last book too. Ace keeps acting like his ex is such a bad mom and he's this amazing dad, when it's so easy to forget that he has a child because she's never with him either, and she's always at his mom's house. She's never with him. He doesn't do anything with this girl. I forgot she existed, seriously, if I'm telling the truth. I've noticed also that this is not really specific to this book, but this is just like this romance genre as a whole. I've noticed that in these romance books, if one of the MCs, the male MCs, has a child with an ex, they fully want to villainize the ex. They make them a terrible mom, abusive to the child, they make them abandon the child, cheaters, drug addicts, just anything negative, and it's starting to feel a little bit lazy when you just keep coming across these same kind of things all of the time. I've read a bunch that don't do this and take a totally different route, but it's so widespread that it bears mentioning. Every single ex is a bad person, yet with the opposite, it's not like that. The male exes are allowed to have more range. Yes, of course, maybe they're a bad person, or maybe they're fine, but just not for you, or they're not your type, but your parents love them, or you grow apart because of long distance. There's a lot. Like, yes, of course, they do have similar tropes where it comes up again and again. For instance, domestic violence or stalkerish tendencies and won't let go, or cheating, but they have more range, I find. But the female ex is almost always villainized, and since most of these books are written by women, I just feel like everyone needs to do a little bit better. It is an issue in this book, but I'm not going to put the burden on Kelsey as an author, because she is just doing what's already out there in the market, and she can't shoulder all the blame for something that it would just be unfair to do. I also felt like the rod reveal was so dumb. I don't even have anything else to say on the matter. Also, likewise, the direction of the Danny situation, it just didn't make sense. Nothing shown in her character, even the bad parts, indicate that her character would even do what she did, and it feels out of character, even with the small amount of page time that she got. Like, I know I shouldn't be able to say that, but even in that small amount of page time, it felt out of character. So the things that I did actually like in book 2, I really liked Zane and Seven in this book. They seem to be really drawn to each other from the start, and I really believed in their progress. And even though like you don't get to see them loads and loads, I still enjoyed seeing them on the page. Also, Lucian and Kara, they were also a massive standout in this book. They actually have a really great relationship. Lucian really takes the time to both get to know her as well as be her support system, because she really, really needs it at this time. He doesn't even realize that it's what she needs. He's just really drawn to her, and so he ends up just being what she needs before the big reveal, which it said in the synopsis, so it's not really a spoiler, that she is dealing with domestic violence. And even after that, he is just really there for her the whole time. Even with the small amount of page time, it still manages to really work. Book 2, it really just felt like twists were being thrown in to manufacture excitement where there wasn't really any. At first, I really liked that the women who were the love interests didn't really all know each other, because it was a nice change, and I feel like it can get so tedious when it's like, oh, these best friends marry these brothers, or they get with these brothers, or these sisters, these 3 sisters meet these 3 brothers, and it kind of gets a bit, okay, like, can we make the world feel a little bit bigger? So I actually ended up liking that they did not take that route. However, since this has more POVs than pages, this series could have benefited from everyone just knowing everyone, so that the story didn't feel so disjointed. It feels like each brother's story is completely separate, even with the brothers doing a bunch of stuff together. Also, by this book, the whole cowboy thing is completely out the window. Really, there's like one chapter where they talk about cowboy related things. I think it's Zane, he's in like a competition. I think it's a horse riding competition. I can't even really remember. And then he also like has one liner in book 3, even though we're not talking about that. He just says one sentence about, oh, I need to sort my horses out, or something like that, and it's just a throwaway comment, and the rest of it is just like a poorly written hood story. Then we get to book 3, and this one has 8 POVs. Synopsis says, chaos is a language the Country Boys cartel knows too well, but when someone sets fire to Ace's business, it stops being business, it's personal. Still reeling from Danny's death and a family secret that shattered everything he thought he knew, Ace is barely holding it together. Every day is a battle to lead, to breathe, to love, but it's his daughter's laugh and his woman's quiet strength that keep him from losing himself, and when everything else feels like it's falling apart, it's her arms that remind him he still has something worth fighting for. Lucian shows up for Kara like sunrise, consistent, patient, and warm. Kara finally has the kind of love she used to dream about in silence, but the echoes of her past make it hard to believe it's real. She's been hurt, forgotten, and mishandled, but Lucian sees past the pain. He holds her without asking her to be anything other than herself, and when she finally lets her guard down, she doesn't just find a man, she finds peace, protection, and a love that heals in places she never thought would stop bleeding. Zayn is a quiet thunder, a southern gentleman whose love speaks loudest through action. 7 caught him off guard, but their connection hit deeper than either expected. It was real from the start, sweet, messy, magnetic. Now with outside threats creeping in, Zayn has to stand 10 toes down for the woman who changed everything. Because when a man like him falls, he falls with everything he's got. In this deeply emotional, gripping African-American romance, the Country Boys Cartel learns that true strength isn't just measured by how many enemies you take down. It's in how fiercely you love. This is her love in its rawest form, imperfect, unwavering, and soul deep. Sometimes the dangerous place to fall is in love. Let's get into book 3. The writing style goes from informal to more slang, which is a little disconcerting because it feels like the writing style doesn't stay within the style the character's internal thoughts would be, and I find that this is more of an issue when writing in one of the girls' POVs. I didn't notice the same thing with the men. And the story was just about the men and their many antics, and the women were just a plot device. That's what I found. It did not feel like it was a romance at all. It felt like it was following these guys doing hood stuff, and I don't even know why they're called really the Country Boys Cartel. I get that they are involved in illegal activity in their country, but I was kind of expecting a little bit more on the countryside because you've put it in your title, and then you also was talking about like horse riding and stuff, so I really thought it was going to incorporate more of that, but it's just hood stuff in a different setting. It's hood stuff, but they have cowboy hats. So if you're looking for like cowboys and all of that kind of stuff, you can just forget about it because you're not gonna get that fix that you're hoping for. The wives are in the title, so you would really expect them to have more of a part in these books, but they really don't, and that was shocking to me because it's called the wives of the Country Boys Cartel. It makes it seem as if it's focused on the women, and it really isn't. They don't get much recognition or time in these books at all. I also felt like there was just a couple of things that happened in the book which could have just been left out, and it felt like the author just wanted to say a mean thing about people she didn't like the whole I work hard for my money and they just, this is not a direct quote, and they just take money from the state, they just live on benefits. Okay, what makes the character better than someone claiming government assistance? They're drug dealers, and on top of that, they don't even have to be, because they say multiple times that these guys have so much money, they don't have to look at the price tags of anything. They have black cards. They also all have businesses of their own, and they don't even have to do it, but they choose to be drug dealers and to poison their communities. But someone who is struggling and gets government assistance are somehow like scummy. I didn't understand why that was even said. And then on top of that, there was a bunch of like little colorous things that were said, mostly towards lighter skinned people, like you don't need to do it, you could have just left it. Unnecessary. Things that I liked in this book, it's going to be Lucian and Kara. They carried the hell out of this book. They're so sweet. I really liked these two together. They were my favorite couple and really made this book worth reading. Book 3, reading this, it's like standing on a street where a fire hydrant bursts, making water go everywhere. Then a man gets stabbed. Police pull up to apprehend a bunch of men that are in the middle of a shootout. An old lady passes out from heat, which makes her dog run into the road. A car swerves to miss the dog, and then it causes a 4-car pileup. Then a nearby business explodes. Firemen show up to put out the fire, and then you're reminded, oh, the fire hydrant doesn't work. You don't know where it's going, and you're left not knowing what's relevant until what you've forgotten gets brought back up to your attention, and you realize almost everything else was irrelevant to the story as a whole. And that's kind of how I was feeling in all 3 of these books. And also, I really did feel like this should have just been like maybe a 2-parter instead of a 3-parter. This story should have been Kara and Lucian, and then Seven and Zayn, 1 book each, and then had like the other brothers and the other characters making like appearances. And then I would add like extra POVs coming from the women, where it concentrates on them as people and not just how in love they are because their characters end up feeling so flat. We could have seen Erin mourn more and decide what she wants to do for her life now that she's back home and she no longer has to give up on her career to please her ex, because that's what we were told in book 1, and then I feel like it kind of just got left. Now she's just dating this other guy. I know, yes, she got a job because Ace helped her get a job, but it was forgettable. It's easy to forget all of these little things because of so many other things that just kept getting added that were irrelevant, and we really could have just seen her as a person, more as a person. 7 is completing her master's, and I can't even remember what the subject was, in all honesty. I felt like we could have done some more about that. The girls actually go on a girls trip and it's off page. Like, seriously, their girl trip is off page. I felt like Kara is the only one that really gets to be a real human. She has different levels to her. You get to know her on her own. She's a business owner. She really loves baking. It's her solace. It means so much to her. You know about her dynamics with her dad and that kind of stuff, like different things that have gone on. Although it's still not perfect, she's the most fleshed out of all the women. This series as a whole, it gets a 2.5. The spice, again, I feel like this is negatively impacted by how you just didn't get any chemistry between almost any of the characters and you didn't really get to know them. And so I felt like the spice scenes kind of were a bit of a snooze fest. However, Lucian and Kara, yet again, coming in for the win. Their scenes were really nice. They were spicy and it gave you everything that it needed to give you. Also, I think in book 1, 7 and Zane, in books 1 and 2, I would say that their scenes are also spicy. So because of those two couples, we're going to go ahead and give it a 3 for the spice rating. All in all, these books I struggled to get through, and it's not long for a series. Now we're done. On to the next.